progress has it been made? Canadian Prime Minister Justin Trudeau commenting on the ongoing trade talks in Washington today, saying he looks forward to signing a deal as long as it's good for Canadians. These comments echo White House economic advisor Larry Kudlow's thoughts on what the president hopes to gain.
He would love to make a deal with Canada, a good deal, a deal which is in the interests of the American economy, the American workforce, American farmers, and presumably, as we did in Mexico, a deal that works for both sides, a pro-growth deal, a free trade deal.
And joining me now to discuss this is Scotty Greenwood, Canadian American Business Council CEO. Welcome, because I know this is your first time on Fox. Scotty,
First time in a while, thanks.
Oh, okay, first time in a while. I want to get straight to it with Prime Minister Trudeau. He made a comment very recently saying that his position on supply management has not changed. And that's been a very contentious issue, the fact that dairy farmers in Canada get a lot of subsidies, and that could potentially hurt the agricultural space in the United States. Do you think he will budge on that before signing any deal?
Well, I'm not sure, Kristina. I mean, and it makes sense to me that he wouldn't negotiate with himself before Minister Freeland gets in the room and the team gets in the room. I think it's possible there's room to negotiate on a number of issues. That might be one. You look at what Canada did in the Trans-Pacific Partnership and the European deal. But I'm not predicting it. I don't know what Canada will negotiate. But I think there is a deal to be had. I was really pleased in the run-up to this to hear Mr. Kudlow saying with Mexico, he was happy that Mexico got a win and the U.S. got a win, because what we often hear from this administration is, I win, you lose. And really, trade deals are about mutually beneficial wins. So hopefully we can get there. I think it's possible this week, Kristina. I really do.
Wow, you're quite optimistic, because you have a lot of Canadian media right now saying that, no, this is not necessarily a good deal, that we don't need to jump the gun. We should go through the parliamentary process in Canada. But I want to bring it back to the United States and Congress. Yeah. Do you think that Congress is going to push back, given the many pro-trade, free trade Republicans, the fact that they have 90 days? They initially said they wanted a trilateral agreement, and now these are the discussions about bilateral agreements. Do you think there's going to be a lot of pushback in Congress?
Well, I think the pushback, if it comes, Kristina, would be against a bilateral deal with Mexico only. What we're seeing from congressional leadership, from Chairman Brady to Chairman Hatch and a lot of people in between, is it's really important that this deal be trilateral. So whether they're doing that to put a little bit more emphasis on the importance of bringing Canada in, supporting that idea, or whether they're trying to pressure Canada to come to an agreement, I don't know. But the only pushback I would see is if we don't get a deal or we don't get a trilateral deal. Otherwise, I think there will be support. That this has been underway for a year, these negotiations, and the president campaigned on it. Republicans would love to go to the polls having fulfilled this campaign promise. There were tax cuts, there's regulatory reform, and the protectionist policies are really hurting the economy, hurting the market. So if they can get rid of the protectionism, have a better deal for the United States that also happens to benefit our neighbors, that would be good politically for Republicans. So I think Congress, I know Congress knows that.
And Scotty, I just want to bring up one point that nobody seems to be discussing. Pharma companies and the biological exclusivity that's in this potential deal. Can you weigh on this and shed some light on this topic, since we haven't really discussed it?
Yeah, well, it's a great point, Kristina. And what you saw in the U.S.-Mexico deal, I believe, is an extension of the intellectual property protection for what's known as follow-on biologics. So if projects had generics, that's what we're talking about. And that's really important, because innovators have to know that when they come up with a life-saving cure, that it will be protected before it just is given away for free to other people. So that's a very significant leap forward for innovation and for life-saving cures. And so the fact that if it's true, what we've read, that Mexico and the United States have agreed to extend that patent life for 10 years, that'll be very important for Canada to take a close look at, because we know that Canada wants to have an innovative economy as well. So I think I'm glad you raised it. I hope it's raised at the table, and it doesn't become a hang-up, because really it's in all three nations' interests to protect the innovations that can help save people's lives.